to Andy Decodes the 12th Dimension. Sit back and enjoy as we dive deeper down into the rabbit hole.
Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining. Today, my guest is, and I hope I get your surname correct. Please correct me if I do get it wrong. So I'm joined by Nicole Chivattoni.
Very good.
Is that correct?
Yep, that's right.
Thank God for that. I meant to ask you before we come on air, and I completely forgot. I thought, I hope I get it right. So thank you for that.
Yep, good job.
Cheers. Nicole is a paranormal investigator with Full Moon Paranormal, founded in 2021. The team combines historical research and scientific data collection, as well as the talents of their psychic team members to try and get a complete picture of the activity going on at a location. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
That's all good. So how did you start the group? What initiated it?
So I actually joined the group right after it was formed. There were two ladies, Lisa and Debbie. They actually started Full Moon Paranormal. It was right before their first public event at the Chance Theater in Poughkeepsie. I was looking to get a ticket to go, and I saw that they had a posting for an investigator. I had always been interested in the paranormal, always wanted to do this, so I applied, and the rest is kind of history. I've been there with them since pretty much the beginning.
Yeah. Excellent. I'm guessing you enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. I really like history aspect. I love investigating. For literally as long as I can remember, since I was a child, I've been interested in the paranormal and the unexplained.
Yeah, cool. Sorry, I've just got a bit of feedback on my mic. Oh, it stopped now. That's very strange. That's not happened before. It has with feedback, but you can tell where it's coming from. And that was it was there, then it went. It's like a growling noise.
That's weird. Well, my house is haunted, so.
Oh, well, that's a good start.
You may get something.
Yeah. So what goes in the house then? Now you've mentioned that, should we talk about that?
So the house is actually not old. We just moved in December, and my husband was here. He is a skeptic. He does not believe in any of this. He humors me, but he would not admit any of this. But he was here painting before we actually moved in, and he said that he heard voices. It sounds like people are having conversations down in the basement.
Yeah.
My son, he's 14. He actually saw a man in his closet. Very tall man, about 6 foot or tall, 6 foot tall or taller, with like a bowler hat, peek out from the side of his closet, kind of lock eyes with where his eyes would be because it was a shadow figure, and then duck back in. And the lights in the closet started flickering.
So does that happen often?
Well, we actually did a little session with the cat balls and with the necrophonics app.
Yeah.
And the man identified himself. He named himself as Mr. Tom. And so I told my son, like, okay, well, we need to set boundaries because it really scared him seeing this man in his closet. And he said, I just rather not have any interaction with you. So he hasn't seen him since then. But
have you not seen him?
I haven't seen him. But before he saw him, there were some instances where my daughter, who has the room next to my son, went in to yell at him because she heard him screaming at his video games. She's like, can you be quiet? You're being too loud. And he's like, I'm sitting here watching a movie on my headphones. I'm not making any noise. So she's hearing a male voice. He's heard coughing coming from that closet. But it seemed to calm down after he set his boundaries.
Oh, right. Sorry, it's just... Can you hear that?
No.
So I'm just checking that I've not got volume on anything else. But as soon as I do something to stop it, it stops. That's very strange. Because it's not my voice either that's coming through. I can't hear it now. There's nothing.
Is it only when I'm talking that something's coming through?
That's when I talk.
Oh.
Sounds like a really deep voice. I don't know what it is, but it's strange. Sorry about that. I don't mean to interrupt.
No. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. So do you have activity all around the house, or is it just certain parts?
It's kind of all around. The bathroom upstairs. Yeah. I've gotten things. I was in the shower and it sounded like a towel, like snapping a towel.
Oh, yeah.
And so I stick my head out of the shower to like yell at whoever came in. I'm like, can I get 5 minutes of peace? Like, there was nobody there. Yeah. So I'm sitting there like a lunatic, trying to like splash water on the shower curtain, trying to recreate the sound. I'm trying to debunk things.
Yeah.
And can't recreate it. Happens again. So I got out and tell it, I'm like, the only thing that I don't do is, where you look up in the mirror and there's something standing behind you. I'm like, we don't do that here.
Right.
I will freak out.
Yeah. No, we've got mirrors all around, and I walk past them and look at them as and when for as little as possible, and that's it. I'm definitely not standing there waiting.
Yeah, I'm pretty brave, but when it comes to that, they stick me in the attics and the basements and the little hidey holes when we go out investigating.
Oh, right, okay.
If something pops up behind me in a mirror, I'm out.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. So you was talking before we started about how you do your investigations different to most other people.
Yeah, so we do private investigations as well, and we do like the regular investigations, but we also host public events in historical locations around us, kind of in the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. And we try to raise money for these places and bring awareness to the history. Get more people involved and interested in going out to these places. That wouldn't normally be interested in going to an old historic home or museum.
Right.
We have one coming. I'm sorry.
No, so I was just going to say, how often do you do these events?
We try to organize one once a month.
Yeah.
So next month we have one coming up we actually have two on the same day it's called the Bombville Grange. And we have one during the day that's a children's event. So we're doing a presentation for kids where we're going to show them how to investigate, tell them what we do, show them some evidence, and actually let them get some hands-on investigating. Okay. And then we have one in the evening where we have a guest speaker coming out. Rosalind and Michael Lewis.
So you do the full works pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then it's a 4-hour event, so we'll have the guest speaker, and then everybody will break up into groups and get a chance to really dig in and investigate the location.
Yeah. Cool. So how many of these have you done? Do you know? Do you remember?
We've been doing it since April of 2021. And
so
we've
just over 2 years.
Yeah, we've pretty much stuck to one a month. Occasionally we'll do 2 or skip a month, but it's been pretty steady.
So done quite a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So did you go anywhere that when you got there it wasn't what you expected, or do you always research a place beforehand?
We do a lot of research. We try to get a good idea of the history, so we have a direction to go if we need to. But I personally don't like making the whole history available right in the beginning. I like to see what we get and then kind of fill in the gaps as we go.
Yeah.
That way people aren't biased. People aren't thinking, oh, there's a John Smith who lived here. That's who we're talking to.
Yeah.
I'd rather go in, give a general overview of, okay, this is when it was built, lived here. And then if we get the name John, like, okay, well, there was a John who lived here. This is who he was. And then we can expand our questioning from there.
Yeah, I think that's the best way. I like, when go out investigating, I like going blind. And I'll go to a few places I've been several times, but that's only because we've had stuff going on. But if I ever go anywhere new, I like to go without knowing what's happened. No history, nothing. And then if we pick anything up, find out either during or afterwards what went on.
And we have actually 3 other members of my team are either psychic mediums or sensitive.
Yeah.
So I'm the only one who doesn't really claim to be that. So I kind of hold on to all the history and let them go and be like, okay, well, what do you guys feel here? And they're like, I sense a man over here. He died from hypothermia or, whatever. And then I'll be like, well, you know what? That's right.
Right. Yeah. And then find out afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
No,
Ideally, I would like to do a primary walkthrough of any place we're going to an event to see what we sense, what we get before the actual event.
Right. No, cool. Thank you. Sorry. So out of all the places that you've been whilst doing this, what place can you talk about what was the most active?
I always say this, we've been very, very spoiled when it comes to activity.
Yeah.
Any place that we go and we get just a little activity, we're like, what the heck is going on? Because we're so used to things going off left and right, EVPs, REM pods. One place we didn't think we were getting a lot of activity was the basement of the Columns Museum in Milford, Pennsylvania.
Right.
We were sitting down there with a group and nothing was going on. We weren't getting anything. So we usually split into groups and we have 2 members of our team with each group. So it was me and Susan down there in the basement, and she took half the team or half the group over to another section of the basement to do some EVPs while I stayed with half, and we were working with pendulums.
Right.
And while they're over there, we're hearing, it sounds like dogs barking, metal scraping, all kinds of noise. And we're like, what the heck are they doing? We all heard this clearly, very, very loudly. But she comes back and we're like, what were you doing? They were sitting there quietly doing EVPs.
Right.
They were not moving, making any noise. And they didn't hear any of what we heard.
Oh.
But so the noises that we heard were coming from where they went.
Yeah. Did you pick any of that up? Did you manage to record any of that?
We didn't, because we thought it was just them being loud because we weren't getting anything.
Right. Okay.
We were like, we heard it so loudly that we were like, it has to just be them, goofing off and messing around.
Wow.
But it was crazy. And then we were trying to recreate the noises and we could not figure out what would be making these sounds.
Yeah. Cool. So what, out of all the investigations you've done, what would be like your, trying to word it proper, your greatest find?
We've gotten a lot of stuff. We've gotten some shadow figures on camera where you can see them clearly walking across. That was also actually in the basement of the Columns. One of the girls caught on her camera. You can see the shadow figure block out the lights, and you can see its legs walk across. That was a pretty good catch. We were, again, in Milford at a private office, and we had one of those doorbell sensors on the door, because this woman was in her office and she heard the door rattling. So we went in to investigate, and that doorbell sensor kept going off repeatedly. And we saw a solid figure on the other side of that door, to the point where I stopped recording. I only caught the beginning of it because I thought it was a solid person on the other side of that door. So we went to go open it. There was no one there.
Ooh. Is that the only time that happened that day, or that night?
Yeah. Yep. We got some other things like REM pods going off, and we got some things with the dowsing rods and the Phasma box, but that was crazy, definitive, non-replicable evidence.
Yeah.
I know, because they put me on the other side of that door immediately after to try to recreate it. I had to walk back and forth while they were all in the office, and I was out there by myself.
Wow. So,
and you could see the color of my shirt. You could see everything. It wasn't a solid black figure, and there was nowhere for someone to go.
Right. Cool. That is pretty good. So I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, that's it. So with all the equipment that you take, what would you say is the most important, other than obviously a camera? That after that, what would you consider the most important?
So what we get a lot of activity with, which is actually going off right now, sitting next to me, because I usually set them up when we're doing things like this, because when I'm talking about things, they go up, are cat balls.
Yeah.
Have you investigated with the cat
Not
balls
yet.
before?
I'm going to be getting some this week.
A
lot of people keep telling me about them.
Yeah, so they're just little cat toys, and they're motion activated, so they'll sit there and not go off unless something moves it. But I crochet, so I made these little ghosts, and the cat ball sits up in the head, so it's not quite as sensitive to vibrations on the ground. You actually have to tap the top of it to get it to move. And this one actually keeps going off. It's in the bottom there.
Right.
Her name's Gretchen. She looks a little wonky, but yeah, she's sitting here on the desk, and it's been going off this whole time.
Cool, because I thought I seen an orb at 10 minutes 51.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it was or not, I don't know. I've not seen anything since. It went behind you.
Oh.
So it went from the back of your head towards the door. So I'll have a look back at that later, and I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me know.
It just went straight across.
Yeah, usually I set them up back on that ledge when we're doing our podcast, and they go off.
Right. So definitely activity in that room that you're in now.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm saying cool because I'm not there. I can see it from here.
They don't bother me. If they bother me, then we will have a problem. But
yeah. So far, so good.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Right. So I was going to ask, so if you could investigate anywhere, money, no object, and travel and all that, where would you like to go that you've not been to yet?
Well, I am going in March to the Women in the Paranormal celebration. We're investigating Brushy Mountain Penitentiary in Tennessee.
Yeah.
So I'm actually really excited to go there because I've never been, and I've heard crazy things about that place.
Ooh.
It's definitely on the bucket
I have
list.
heard of it, but I don't know much about it.
Yeah, I haven't done too much of the history, but it's on all the big shows and everything, and it's supposed to be very, very active, very very heavy.
Yeah. So how many prisons? Yeah. So how many did you say there is? There's 3 of you that go.
4 of us.
4.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always the same 4 that go every time.
Yep, there's 4 of us in the group. There's myself, there's Lisa, who is one of the founders. The other Lisa, who is our psychic medium, and there is Susan.
Right, cool. Sorry, one of the people in the chat has asked to make your screen bigger, just in case you say anything while you're talking. Hope you don't mind.
Yeah. So actually, if it's cool, I'm gonna go put these over on the ledge
Yeah,
so
yeah,
they go up, everybody can see them.
Yeah.
There we go. So now everybody can watch the background.
Right, thank you. Have you ever been investigating out of America?
I have not. I've actually never been out of America.
Have you not?
I have not. I would love to go out of America. I would love to get over to some of the castles. I know some people who went to Wales on a trip with Brian Cano last year, and they had an amazing experience.
Yeah. That's it. There's loads of castles over here, but I don't think there's stuff going on at all of them. That's the thing. So it's just finding one where you've got activity.
Yeah, that's the thing everywhere, I guess. There's a lot of cool buildings, but not all of them have activity.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's like I'd be driving past somewhere and it's like, oh, that looks interesting. But then it's like right out in the middle of nowhere. It's like, I don't want to go. I would go, but I don't want to go there and sit there for like 5 hours and nothing happen.
I'll go anywhere. I love the history of the old buildings. When I was looking at houses, I never thought I would end up in one that was built in the late 80s. I thought I would be one that was in the 1800s.
Yeah.
But it ended up being haunted anyway.
But it's haunted anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just love the history of the buildings and, thinking about who might have lived there, how many people have been through these spaces, and I just find that incredible.
So have you ever had anyone look into the house?
So we did some research into the history, and it's definitely not the house. It would be the property, because right next to where the house is built was an old harness racing track.
Right.
So we think that it would be, oh, she's going off.
Oh, yeah.
We think that it would be coming from that era.
Right. Cool. Thank you. Joe's put where I can find it. So where in the UK would Nicole most like to investigate? I know you mentioned the castles in Wales. Is there anywhere else?
I don't know. I want to get into a castle. Whether or not it's haunted, I just want to go see the castle.
Just a castle.
Mm-hmm. We have one here in Newburgh. It's on an island. It's Bannerman's Castle. I want to investigate there. I think I just want to get into castles in general.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. You just want to go to a castle and see what happens.
Yep.
Yeah. Not wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you into cryptids? Because I know obviously you do the ghost and the paranormal stuff and like with shadow people. Are you interested in cryptids?
Yeah, I'm interested in everything. I just want to know more about the unexplained and have 100 different theories about what things are or could be, and I'm open to everything. I don't think that anybody has the answers.
No, definitely not. I think, like you said, everyone has their own ideas and theories. I don't think anyone's got anything as solid evidence yet.
Yeah. Al, who actually introduced me, Al Santoriga.
Oh, yeah.
He's the Bigfoot guy.
Yes.
Yeah, I love all his stuff.
Everything that put us in touch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's coming back on with Chris Reinhardt in September.
I'll have to tune in for that one. I love all Al stuff. I love listening to him talk about the Dog Man and Bigfoot.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on Dogman?
I think it's something. I mean, enough people see it and experience it that it has to be something.
Yeah. Do you think these different types, because a lot of people see them as not solid objects, like solid mass, and then some are seeing it's like more smoky, like more transparent?
Yeah, I've heard a couple different things about Dogman. I've heard that it's kind of like an offshoot of a Bigfoot, just like with an elongated snout. I've heard that it's like native spirits. I've heard
Yeah.
that it's kind of like an elemental spirit, interdimensional things. I'm not really too sure, what it is.
Yeah.
If everything that they're seeing is one thing, or if people are seeing different things and just labeling it all Dogman.
Yeah, could be. Because it's like what one person, I've said this loads of times, but what one person witnesses isn't necessarily what the next person is seeing at the same time, or even on separate occasions.
Yeah, exactly. Lisa from the group, she actually was in a graveyard and she took a picture of what she thought was a spirit. She saw like a face, and she actually sent it to Al, and he said, "Nope, that's a dog man."
Oh,
Like you could see the snout and everything.
really?
Mhm.
I'm going to say, have you had any encounters with dogmen that you know
I
of?
have not. We've hung out in plenty of cemeteries and graveyards where a lot of people report having experiences with dogman, but I haven't had any personally, unfortunately.
Right. Sorry, I've just twice I've seen like smoke covering. So where the door is behind you is like smoke will come on, then just vanish again. I thought I was seeing things. It's happened twice, like a mist will come on and go.
That's weird.
Sorry, I don't want to
there's
freak you out or anything, but
no, I'm not
that's what
freaked out by anything, so
I'm just writing the timestamps down because I'll forget what time I'm seeing them.
yeah, even I turned the air conditioner off so it wouldn't be loud with the sound, so it shouldn't be anything coming from that or temperature differences or anything.
Strange. You not got a air purifier or anything there, have you?
No, nope, it's just the air conditioner and that's off.
Right, I'll do it without
That's just
my
a
glasses.
closet.
Oh, is it?
That's my doom closet where all the things from my hobbies go.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm going to keep my eye on that anyway and see if anything else. I've took my glasses off now, so then I'll know if it because someone said clean your glasses. I know they're only messing about, but just in case it was some going across me, like reflection on my glasses or something. So if it happens again, I'll let you know.
Yeah, now I'm going to be staring at it.
So when you've been out doing these paranormal investigations, have you come across anything like, I suppose, in the UFO realm? Have you come across one thing while you've been investigating something totally different?
So we've come across, like, we've done things with the phasma boxes and spirit boxes that we presume are spirits.
Yeah.
But I know that some people have theorized that extraterrestrials can use those to communicate as well.
Right.
We have a friend of ours who, Rania Cavetti, who does the Statacom project. He's, I think, gotten some communications through his device that have been extraterrestrial in nature potentially. That's like, we are aliens. We haven't. We've been sticking mostly to spirits, but I don't know if that's because that's what we're looking for.
Yeah. So,
and that's what we're assuming they are.
Yeah, there's going to be the next question. So when you're out investigating, you contacting what you think is spirits. Do you ever think, is it really a spirit or is it something else?
So you're gonna get me down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Because I say this all the time. I have no idea who or what we're communicating with. It could be a time loop situation where they're existing in their time and they think we're the ghosts because we're coming through on their end and they're still alive going about their day-to-day business. It could be a different dimension.
Yeah.
So these are things that I wonder about. I'm not 100% convinced that it is a deceased person from our timeline that we're speaking with.
Yeah. No, I've always thought about that. Like, is it like not? Because I've not had, when I've gone out doing the filming or doing a live stream on an investigation, not real. I've caught some bits and pieces, but nothing solid as such. Got a couple shadow people, and like last week we got some mist going past a tree that was caught on both cameras. But there's 3 of us there investigating, but no one, we couldn't see it with the naked eye. We could only see it watching back on the camera. So, but other than that, we've not had anything like, I won't say 100%, but as near as that we could put your finger on saying that was whatever. But then before I started doing the investigations, like with the YouTube channel, and I've full body apparitions, shadow people. I was going to the bathroom once and a shadow person just walked dead slow like that right in front of me. I could have just put my hand like that and I'd have touched him. Or put my hand through him. It was that close. I was stood there in shock. Oh, I have had one. Sorry, you figure I can't remember everything. One of the very first investigations we did, there's a guy sat on a bench in one of the local cemeteries. So I had a body cam on as well as filming it. Didn't pick him up, just seeing an orb then come from the door and go around. Literally. It just come out of nowhere, then shut off. That was very strange. Yeah, there's a guy sat on a bench. Even though I had the camera pointing at him, you couldn't see him sat on the bench. No one could hear his audio. The audio was only picked up on the body cam. So when I was talking to him, he looked like about 25-year-old, really pale white guy, and he had a really strong Dutch accent. But when we watched it back, his face is bright red. So he was sat with his phone in his right hand on his right leg, but looking that way. So if his face was lit up, it'd be that side. And it was that side that was bright, like fire red. It looked like fire, his face and his hand.
Yeah, that's weird.
So, yeah, I've never remember everything that happens. And that's one of the main ones.
I know after a while, it all starts to blur together.
It's just one big episode of strange going on.
Yeah, I like to approach things from a scientific, as much as we can approach things from a scientific standpoint.
Yeah.
If your REM pod goes off, you can maybe explain that away. Or if the static dome goes off, all right, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But we were in one place and we had a loop of activity. I think it was a residual thing. And it comes down the stairs and it sets off a REM pod that I had sitting there, like a tripwire REM pod.
Yeah.
And it goes to the table where we have a vibration sensor. And then it sets off the static dome. And then it goes to the mantle over the fireplace. And it touches one of the cat ball ghosts. Right. And it kept doing the same loop. And these are different methods of detecting things. The electromagnetic fields in the REM pods and the vibration sensors and the static meters. These are all detecting different things, but they're all going off in a loop.
Yeah.
So I feel like that gives a little more credibility when you have multiple different sensors going off at once.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we tried to recreate the guy sat on the bench. We did it different days, using the same equipment, different days, different people. Probably tried it about 4 or 5 times and could not get the face to light up lava red. So I don't know. But while I was stood there talking to him, because I was shining my torch in his face, because I thought it was one of the other guys that was helping, and obviously it wasn't. So I was like apologising and explaining what I was doing, and it wasn't until I started walking away that I realised that it wasn't normal. And then, so I'd asked him if he'd seen the other guy, and he said he had. So I walked down to where he was, and he said there was no one sat on the bench when I walked past. He was recording as he walked past. We checked back on his video, and there's nobody there. It was an empty bench.
Yeah, and I always think it's weird how sometimes the camera will catch things that we can't see, but sometimes we'll see things that the camera doesn't catch.
Yes.
So is it always the same things? Because if it was always the same thing, the camera would always pick it up, or we would always not be able to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why sometimes I think it's different things.
Yeah. Quick question. Do you know where your aircon unit and the lamp is?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a window?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any cars driving past there?
No, that is to the neighbor's yard.
Oh, right. That's right, because I keep seeing things moving behind you, and I wasn't sure if it was like somebody walking past or like car going past and it reflecting off the windscreen or anything.
No, there's just a like a big tree bush thing out there, and then the neighbor's yard. There's nobody out
there. So there's nothing that can cast any light from that window.
No, there's a window in front of me, but it's just to the front yard.
Oh, right. No, because I keep seeing that mist. And I'm just a couple of people.
I can shut that blind.
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
Just to see if it'll cancel it out or anything. Thank you.
Debunk.
Yeah. It's just so I can cancel out anything that's going past. It's not casting a shadow or casting light over. It looked like a couple of minutes ago something went from behind you towards the door, so towards your right. But it looked like it was walking. And it was like that misty thing. It wasn't like the first one.
If you're back there, you can touch one of those dolls that I have on the shelf. I usually don't like to like actually investigate in my house. No. Don't like to stir things up, but I'll put the little dolls out for them.
Yeah, nothing too much.
Yeah. The only time I've actually tried to interact was that day after my son saw the shadow figure. And that was just to establish boundaries. Like, okay, what's your name? Was this you? And then the ball went off to show that it was them that he saw. You know, if they had anything that they needed to say, because this was their space first.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, you don't have to leave, but we need to cohabitate peacefully.
Yeah. Have you spoke to any of the neighbors about the stuff going on?
No, but there's a history on the street of activity, because I've looked it up online and people have reported things. I've talked to someone who used to live here, and their neighbor had things going on to where they had to change the layout of the house because they were having activity and their cabinet doors kept opening.
Yeah. Do you have any pets?
I do. I have a ferret who's over there, and I have 2 dogs.
And do they let you know if there's anything going on?
Yeah, the other night, my corgi was actually barking and growling at nothing. I had to tell it, I'm like, leave the dog alone, please. Then he stopped.
Yeah, and does that happen often?
Not too often. It doesn't really seem to bother them. But my husband was out, and I don't know if it was just checking things out or if my dog was feeling like super protective because my husband wasn't home. But
yeah,
yeah.
Could have been bit of everything.
Yeah, but he kept going into the hallway and growling and barking, ears back.
Strange.
Yeah.
So, I know you said your husband, he's not into this, he's very skeptic, but has he had anything happen?
He told me that he heard voices when he was painting, and it sounds like there's people having conversations, but if you ask him about it, I'm like, no, I could have just been, the TV. Like, we didn't have a TV then. You're here painting. There was nothing. Well, it could have been, just the sounds of the house. I'm like, what sounds of the house? Sound like two people having a conversation.
Yeah.
Creaking boards don't make that sound.
Right. So is that the only time that he had anything that he's told you about?
Yeah, that anything that he's told me about. I don't know if he would tell me about anything else because he wouldn't want to admit to it.
Yeah, I was going to say he'd end up becoming a believer then, won't he?
Yeah, he's very good about things though. We went to the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. He came with me. We went on an investigation of the orphanage, and that was actually his first paranormal investigation ever.
Yeah.
He went in the pit where they used to put the bad children as a punishment. They used to shackle them. And a lot of investigators won't go in there because it's such a heavy energy.
Yeah.
He sat in there by himself for like an hour. He gave it a shot.
Yeah.
So,
well,
I can't fault him.
At least he's willing.
Yeah, he's very supportive.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So are you saying like you do the kids' paranormal activities?
Mm-hmm.
So do your kids go to them as well?
So my daughter is 9. She's still a little young for what we do. We'll do like 10 and older. The library program we did was grades 4 to 8. This one that we're doing is 11 and older.
Yeah.
But my son does go. We brought him and the other team member, Lisa's daughter. They went to the Shanley Hotel in Napanoch for their birthdays in December.
Yeah.
And stayed the night. So yeah, he's into it. He keeps asking, he's like, when can I go on another investigation?
Yeah. So is he allowed? Are you letting him?
Certain places, yeah.
Yeah.
It depends where it is and what's going on.
Yeah. No.
Because children are a lot more open. So
yes, you do have to be very, very careful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that they know that it's not a game. It's not for fun. Like, you have to know to be respectful to the spirits. You have to know how to protect yourself and make sure that nothing is following you home and and setting your boundaries so that nothing is doing something that you're uncomfortable with.
Yeah. Yeah. No, cheers for that. Right, we've got a question for you, and this is from UFO Joe. And he would like to know, did any of the devices malfunction or were affected when the shadows appeared? And what did you use to film them?
So in the columns, Lisa filmed that on her body cam. And in the office, that I just filmed on my cell phone, actually.
Yeah.
Because it would just happen so quick. I just whipped out my phone and started recording.
Yeah.
The devices, I don't think they were malfunctioning. The doorbell alarm thing was going off to signal that there was something on the other side of the door. And it did stop when we asked it to walk away.
Oh, right. So everything was working fine.
Mm-hmm. I would say so.
Is there any equipment that you wouldn't use?
I think that most equipment can be used if you use it with certain things in mind. Like we use apps, we use Phasma boxes, Spirit boxes, K2s. But with things like apps, you have to keep in mind that it is an app and you have to take everything with a grain of salt. I like the Ghost Stalker app because it uses the vibration sensor in your phone and kind of turns it into an obelisk where it puts up words when it detects vibrations. So I'll leave that out at an investigation for hours and it won't say anything. And then something will tap the phone or make a vibration and it'll start saying words. Sometimes those words make sense, sometimes they don't. But if there's a vibration somewhere where there should be no vibrations, then that's something that you can look into.
Right, okay. No, because I've not really used the apps. I'm a bit wary of using them because, like you said, they are on the apps and a lot of them are preloaded. But someone was telling me about there's one called Raptor. And I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know if you can see it there.
Yeah, I haven't used that one.
And so it kind of like uses radio signals and then it doesn't store anything. You have to pick out any of the words that it picks up. So then you're writing down whatever the words are that it's collecting. So I've not used it yet. Someone recommended it to me last week. So
I'll check that one out.
I'll give it a go. I think I'll go out and do that when I'm out on my own and not doing any recording and see what I can pick up.
Yeah, I think everything has its time and a place and a purpose. The Phasma box we use, it's a program on a Windows computer. Have you used a Phasma box?
No, not yet.
So it's a program on the computer. It's similar to like a necrophonics or a spirit box. It's not connected to any radio or any internet. It just throws out words or sounds. The new version can throw out images as well.
Yeah.
Kind of randomly, and supposedly the spirits can manipulate these to communicate.
Yeah.
Sometimes it says things that doesn't make sense or doesn't apply, but we find that using that, we get a lot of activity after we use that because it kind of charges the air. I don't know if it's the different sounds and the static and the reverb or just having a computer on
that
you're taking energy from. But after we use that, if we're not getting very much, the energy seems to kind of amp up.
Oh, cool. All right. Got an update on the question from UFO Joe, but what he meant was, did the apparition of the shadows affect the equipment in any way? So not malfunction, but did it trigger him? I'm guessing is what he means.
So the one in the office did set off the doorbell alarm because that's why we were looking at the door to begin with, because the doorbell alarm was going off. So we were like, can you step away from that? It stopped, then it started again, and that's what I was recording when I saw the shadow approach the door.
Yeah.
And then I stopped recording stupidly. You can hear me say on the recording, when you watch it, there's a person there. And I stopped recording. So I'm like, oh, that's what's setting it off. There's a person.
Yeah.
And biggest regret, I wish I had just kept recording.
Yeah. I know, it's always a way, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. But I was so convinced that it was a live human being walking up to the door.
Yeah. Oh, if only you got the full video of it.
Mm-hmm.
And bet you got it, aren't you?
Yep. I wish I kept recording while I walked up to the door and opened the door and there was nothing there.
I know. It's weird how we just stopped doing it for whatever reason. Do you not find that that a lot of time you'll stop recording and then more stuff happens.
I feel like it's almost like they know when they're being recorded.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm not your dancing monkey.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to perform for you on cue.
Yeah. When last week when I was doing an EMF reading, I've got a digital K2. We've got the other guy brought the one with the lights and needle. So we was watching the one more with the lights and needle because it's easy to see on the camera. And so the lights were flickering. As soon as I pressed record on my digital recorder, it stopped, just single green light. And as soon as I switched it off, the light started coming back up again. So I can't even say that the digital recorder was affecting it. It more had an adverse effect, because if it was picking that up, the lights would have got stronger, because obviously as I got closer with my phone, it was going into the reds. But as soon as I pressed record on the dictaphone, nothing, absolutely nothing. And then switched it off and it came back on.
Yeah, I try to remember that if it's, spirits of deceased people that we're dealing with, they are people, and maybe they don't want to be recorded. Like, if I came into your house with a camera in your face and started asking you questions, would you want to respond? Or would you want to be like, we'll turn the camera off and maybe we can have a conversation?
Yeah.
Because I think that's how I would feel. I'd be like, why do you have this in my face trying to record me? This is weird. Like, talk to me like a person.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's hard because you want to get the proof, but it's more difficult to get the proof with all the equipment that you're using.
Yeah. Sometimes you get the best things where you just sit there quietly and just see what you feel, see what happens, and just start talking like, this is my name, this is why I'm here, like, and just have a conversation instead of just, what's your name? How old are you? How did you die?
Yeah. No. Yeah. When Al Santoriga had Chris Reinhardt come on, and just before we went live, his setup's in his basement. Now he's got I think it's called a sound gate, so that when he moves away, there's no sound can come through his microphone. So he'd gone off. I think he's gone getting a drink or something. So I'm sat like waiting for him to come back, and someone went, "Are you all right?" And it sounded like, I don't know, it sounded like a kid's voice, but in a weird way. Do you know when you know an EVP, the voice of an EVP is different to any other? It was like that. So I was talking to him about afterwards. He went, "Oh," he goes, "Did you get it?" I went, "I'm not recording." He's like, "Oh," he goes, "There is nobody else in the apartment. It's 3 floors, and he was in the basement." He goes, "No one's at home for at least another half an hour." And it's clear as day. Are you okay? Or are you all right? I said, probably the best EVP I've ever heard. No recording of it. So good.
That's interesting too, because if you guys were talking and then you stopped talking, it would make sense for somebody to be like, are you all right? Because you guys have been talking for an hour and you just stopped.
Yeah,
like, why did you stop talking?
Yeah, this was literally 2 minutes into our conversation, like what we had before we went live. It was just like that, and then it did that.
Wow.
So it was a very, very odd one. Right, shall we go for a break then? And hopefully we'll get some more questions in.
Sounds good.
Perfect. Right, we'll see you guys in 5 minutes. Bye-bye.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
And we are back. Welcome back. Anything go off during the break?
I don't think so.
Nothing.
Not that I noticed.
Okay. No worries. Right. So talk about UFOs. Is that, if that's okay, is that one of your things? I know we touched a bit on it before. Have you had any UFO encounters that you know?
I have seen a UFO once, and it was when I was really young. I was at my parents' house, and I remember my mom called me out into the backyard to look at this like weird light in the sky, and it was like a green light.
Yeah.
And it was like a green, kind of long, skinny light in the sky. And that's really all I remember about it, that it was something that it wasn't a plane. And this was back in probably the mid 90s, so it wasn't a drone or anything weird.
Right.
Like we would have seen today, just dismissed it.
Yeah.
Something that shouldn't have been there.
Right. So did it make any noise or
No.
any funny maneuvers?
No, not. All I can remember is just that it was like above the tree line, and it was just this green light hovering there.
Yeah.
It just stayed there for a while, and then it was gone. But I live near Pine Bush, New York, which is kind of the UFO capital of the area, you know, other than Roswell. When you think UFOs,
oh right, yeah.
So we've been to the UFO museum. They have a UFO festival.
Yeah.
So I was kind of looking to the sky out here. People have reported seeing some really weird things around here.
Oh, cool.
Definitely believe it.
Yeah. Any I can't speak tonight. Any of the other team members, have they had any encounters that you know of?
Not that I know of. No, it's mostly just, I think it's because we're looking for ghosts.
Yeah.
I think the people who look for UFOs are going to see UFOs, and the people who look for ghosts are going to see ghosts, because that's how you explain things.
Yeah. But I find that I'm looking for everything and find nothing. Do you ever get that? Do you ever get that?
Yep, for sure.
Lots of dry spells.
But that's what we were saying before we signed on to. Like, I will believe everybody's stories because that's your experience. But for things to happen to me, it has to really like hit me in the face for me to be like, this happened to me.
Yeah.
Something that I can't explain away or, you know, play off as my imagination. Right. I think that's why things don't really freak me out, because I'm like, okay, well, this could be something else. This could be, you know, ground vibration setting those things off. I'm not 100%. Okay, it's a big scary ghosts.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's like someone asked me once, "What's a ghost?" Well, I think they asked me what a spirit was, and like you were saying before, I don't always think that a ghost, what we believe or what we're told is a ghost, isn't necessarily the spirit of a dead person. Hard to explain, but a lot of these ghost-like figures that are seen, like you said before, could be somebody living in another time that's crossing over into our dimension at the same time. I believe a lot of it is that, and that we're looking at them just as confused as they're looking at us, because they're probably looking at us and thinking, "What is that, a ghost?" They're probably thinking the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So I believe that more than it being the spirit of a dead person. I think it's
too,
a crossover.
About how during an investigation, we're all sitting there like staring at this device, like kind of willing it to go off.
Yeah.
And then it goes off. So how much of that is something outside making it go off and how much of it is our intent, our focusing, the energy on this device and then making it go off. I think that's something worth looking into as well. Because there have been experiments like that where somebody plants false information. They'll say, oh, there was a boy named Johnny. He was 8 years old. He drowned. And then all of the EVPs and all the responses that they were getting was, oh, there's a boy named Johnny. He drowned, water, died. They're getting things that relate to this made up story.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting to look into as well. When we're investigating the paranormal, we're not just looking for ghosts, we're investigating things that we can't explain.
Yeah. Yeah, because when I first started, people used to say, oh, you're going ghost hunting. I'm like, I'm not hunting ghosts. I'm going out paranormal investigating. And I was trying to think of a term that would make more sense. Because like you said, when you go out, you're not just looking for spirits, you're looking for anything that you can't explain, regardless of what it is. Like that one I was saying about the bench guy. Before that, we've been to Church Ruins, the one that I went to last week, and there's a baby rabbit. And the rabbit, I went and picked it up. I had it in my hands. Now, I don't know. I've had pet rabbits that won't even let me do that. And they lived in the house. And they wouldn't let me just go over and pick them up. But I put the rabbit back down and it'd run off a bit. I'll hop away. And it'd turn around and look at me. It's like, are you following me? So I kind of followed it on this little bit of a track, and then I turned around to speak to one of the other guys that were there, turned back to see where the rabbit was, and it had gone. It could have jumped off and hid in the undergrowth and that, but it wasn't. The grass was quite short. There wasn't really anywhere that it could have gone. And it just, 1 second it was there, and I'm picking it up, and it's wanting me to follow it, or that's what it looked like. And next second, it's completely gone.
See, some people would say that's a spirit guide or, a spirit trying to tell you something. And some people would be like, well, that's just a rabbit.
Yeah, but I've seen hundreds of rabbits and not one of it. That's the only one ever, whether it's domestic or wild, that's let me pick it up, especially a baby one as well.
Yeah, because they're usually very timid.
Probably a month, maybe 2 months old. It literally sat in my hands like that.
Oh.
So
I'm incredibly jealous because I want to hold a baby bunny.
Sorry. Yeah, and that's the only time that's happened. So to me, that's unexplained because that doesn't make sense. I still don't know what that was about.
Yeah, it would be really cool if it led you somewhere cool, or
I know, yeah.
Did you to find some cool treasure or something?
I know, but yeah, like I said, I've been back to that place. I've gone late at night, early morning, through the night, middle of the afternoon, and never seen another rabbit there since. So, and it is literally, it's like a 5-minute drive from where I live. So it's not like it's a million miles away. So yeah, you've got that going on. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, it's not just about looking for ghosts. It's looking for anything that's you can't explain what it is. So a lot of people don't get that, I don't think.
And hundreds of years ago, everything was supernatural or paranormal. We go back far enough, people didn't know what the rain was. They thought it was like a curse from God or a gift from God, depending on how bad the rain was and if you needed it. So I think that in time, these things will be explained. And I think that what we're doing, even though, mainstream science might not think so, I think that what we're doing helps, further, get closer to explaining what is going on when we're experiencing this phenomenon, our equipment going off, EVPs, voices being where they shouldn't be. Because every time we can document that, it's more evidence that this is happening.
Yeah. So obviously you believe there's a connection with everything that's going on.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's all, wherever it's coming from, it's all some kind of energy, whether it's, interdimensional, whether it's time, whether it's a deceased spirit. Energy is manipulating these things. It's static fields, it's electromagnetic fields, vibrations. They're setting off our equipment. Voices are being imprinted on our recorders. So things are happening. And I don't think anybody can dispute that.
No. So, obviously, about residual hauntings and residual sounds, where it's just the stone tape theory, it just keeps playing over and over. Do you believe that can happen in living life?
I think it can. I think that you can have it where you can have a haunting and it's not necessarily of a deceased person, it's just of a traumatic incident, and energy from that traumatic incident is stuck, and maybe that just keeps replaying, but then the person goes on to live a full life, but there's that whatever happened made enough of an imprint on them at that time that energy is just replaying itself.
Right. Yeah, because I've had a couple of people tell me a similar sort of story. It wasn't as dramatic as what you just said, but it's mainly like someone putting keys in the door and coming in. So like the partner or the kids or the parents would come home around the same time every day. So they've heard on this particular day, they've heard whoever they thought it was, a family member, coming back home. So they've gone through to meet them and see who it is, and there's nobody there.
Yeah, if you do the same thing over and over and over again enough times, then I don't see why it couldn't imprint.
Yeah,
it's just the power of repetition. I think it would happen more often with a traumatic experience or something with like a high energy level, but if it's the same thing every day, I could 100% see it happening.
Yeah, because it must produce some type of energy. Doing, like you said, doing the same thing over and over every day for God knows how long.
And I've heard too the theory some people had that everything is alive in a way, or everything has energy and memories, like plants, inanimate objects, and they have memories and so like buildings and like the wood that's used to make houses has memories and its own energy, and that's why some people are drawn to certain places. Have you heard that one?
Yes.
I don't know how much I buy into that, but I've heard that, and I feel like that could have something to do with that as well. Like you put your key in that door every day, the door remembers.
Now, a couple of places that I go to, and I'm drawn to particular areas. I don't keep going on about it, but the one that I did last week, the one where I picked the rabbit up, there's a tree. It's a big redwood, and I'm drawn to, every single time I go, I'm more drawn to that tree than I am the church ruins. There's just something about it, some energy that's pulling me towards it, and I don't know what it is. I'd like to find out, and I hope it's good. Hope it's positive. Otherwise, I don't want to know.
I feel like it would be. I don't feel like people. I mean, I don't know. I would like to think that people aren't drawn to negative things.
Yeah.
You think that like attracts like.
Yeah, saying that, I went seeing a medium. It's a few years ago now. It's not so much I'm drawn to negative things, but negative energy is drawn to me. So I was told to carry obsidian. So I even have it permanently in my car as well now. So I have it in me. So whenever I go anywhere, it's there all the time. I have it like with the rest of me. I do have a lot of crystals and what have you. So I still, it's just as soon as you said that you got negative energy is drawn to you. Like, no, please don't tell me that. That's not. I want the positive stuff, but it's never anything bad has happened. So, touch wood, it's all good, and it'll carry on being like that. But do you ever feel drawn to anything?
So we keep going back to, there's this one place that's close to us, the Walk Hill River School. It was the Patchett House. We've been back there quite a few times now. And we keep going back, we keep going back. And every time we go, I feel like we get a little more of the story.
Right.
So the first time we went, we got very like surface level things. Like there was a family, the Patchetts, that lived there. So we were interacting with Emma Patchett, who is the last heir. And in the basement, there was someone who supposedly passed while the property was vacant. And then the next time we went, we got a little boy who, before the Patchetts even bought the house, he was supposedly, from the stories that we got, was killed by his father.
Right.
And we get a lot of different, it's a little different when we investigate because we're an all-female team. So we get a lot of kids, a lot of women who have lost babies, a lot of mothers, because I think they feel safe with our energy sometimes, as opposed to sometimes the males come in and they're like a little more like, tell me who you are, what's your name?
Yeah, more like direct.
Yeah, and they feel a little safe with us.
Yeah, less emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We went there and we started to get that story. We go back another time, and then the father who supposedly killed him is coming through, and he's a priest. He's giving us Bible verses.
Yeah.
And we go with a medium, and he's drawing pictures of this little boy. And we find out where he's buried, that he likes to plant the tree. So every time we go back, these spirits are getting to know us, and more is coming out.
Yeah.
So we end up back there a lot. I don't know if it's that we're drawn there or just that they're getting more familiar with us.
Yeah. Do you find though, when you keep going back to the same place, you get, I suppose, comfortable with the surroundings and what's going on?
I think so. I think you kind of get to know the spirits. They know you. The spirit in the basement there got a little too comfortable the one time we went, and me and another woman who was on the investigation decided that he was going to choke us.
Oh,
yeah,
not good.
Yeah, we had to be like, no, you need to back up. You cannot do that.
Yeah.
But the first couple times we were there, it was not that heavy negative energy.
Yeah.
But
have you ever been? Yeah. Have you ever been there and got nothing? Absolutely nothing.
Not nothing. I would say like the first time we went, we didn't get as much as subsequent times.
Yeah. So that's your like the initial introduction, though, isn't it? The first time you go.
Yeah.
Whatever's there, they're gonna want to know why you're there and what you're doing, and are you doing the same as everyone else that's been there before?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, because I said that church ruins. I've been and got nothing. Me and the girl Ali that comes out investigating with me. The time we went before last, it was I think it was the back end of winter, so the beginning of this year. We got there, we walked halfway down the hill, and we both got the most horrible, sick feeling we've ever had. And we knew there's something there that didn't want us there. And I was like, right, don't run. We'll walk out. But I had to walk out backwards because I knew or felt that if I turned around and took my eyes from whatever, even though I couldn't say anything, if I took my eyes off from the area where this thing was, that we would have got attacked. That's what I truly believe. So I'm walking up this hill backwards, can't see what I'm walking into or anything. As soon as we got through the gate, cars are parked only about probably about 20 meters away. I've just opened the boot. It's an estate car, and we just sat at the boot and just staring at the gate, and we could both feel that there's something going on. Now, the girl, Ellie, she was off work for 3 days. She went home, she was being sick. And I had a headache for about 2 days after that.
Wow.
But then we've been before, because her granddad comes out investigate with me as well, but he does weird shifts, so it's difficult for him to come out all the time. And we went once. We got there at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, because we thought, well, we've done dusk, we'll do dawn, because obviously the switch over. Got absolutely nothing. And we set up, we waited in one area, and then walked around, and it's strange.
See, it's really hard when we're doing a public event and we get nothing, because there's people who paid, and we do explain to them that, this is real life. It's not a TV show. Like, sometimes you will get nothing.
Yeah.
But there's kind of a need to entertain when people have paid tickets for an event. I think we've only had really one time where it hasn't been super, super active during a public investigation. And we kind of tried to fill in with, teaching people about the equipment. Like, okay, this might not be working, but this is what this does.
Yeah.
And showing them how it works, telling them stories about different experiences we've had, trying to be entertaining as much as possible, because they still, paid to come here and sit here for 4 hours with us.
Yeah.
So that's really rough when you have a group of 15 people staring at you and you're sitting in a location for 45 minutes and nothing is happening.
Yeah, I could imagine. I won't want to be there.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's finding something to fill the gaps, isn't it? That's that's the difficult part.
Yeah, it's rough, because when we're doing the events, like, okay, you have a timeline. You go in, you go, okay, we're going to do 45 minutes here. This group is going to do 45 minutes here, and then we're going to switch, or whatever the timeline looks like. And you're stuck in that area, even if nothing's happening, because the other group might be getting some amazing activity. You can't be like, can we just switch early? So sometimes they'll be like, okay, well, we're not getting anything here. Maybe we can head out to this other area. Maybe we can go outside. Maybe we can do this. Kind of got to think on your feet and try to find something to entertain these people.
Yeah.
That's when we'll try to whip out the more interactive things. Like, we'll get out the pendulums.
Yeah.
Get out the dowsing rods, things that people can interact with, and you're going to get something.
Yeah. So
people are using them.
Yeah. So, question about the pendulum. How do you use it? Do you use a chart, or do you go yes, work out what yes, no, and maybe is?
So I've done it both ways, where you go show me a yes, show me a no.
Yeah.
And we've done it that way. But I also have a couple different sets of pendulum boards. Right. And one thing that I like to do is kind of an experiment, is we'll have a couple people using pendulums with the boards.
Yeah.
And then have them where they can't see each other, or have them with their eyes closed, and asking the question and seeing if all different people who are using it, the 2 or 3 people, are getting the same responses.
Right.
So
see, I've not thought about doing that.
It takes out the bias. I'm all about taking out the bias of things. I like the Estes method, where you can't hear what the questions are, so you're not looking for a specific answer.
Yeah.
Cool. We were doing in the cemetery, we were at a couple weeks ago. We were using the dowsing rods, and we're like, okay, point to where you're buried.
Yeah.
And we'd been in the cemetery before, so I'm like, okay, well, maybe we just know this. So we had the 3 of us with our dowsing rods, and I'm like, okay, now everybody close your eyes, spin around 3 times so you don't know where you are, and then ask it. Yeah. And they all pointed to the same direction, even though nobody knew where they were facing, and everybody had their eyes shut.
Right.
So we looked like doofuses, but
it worked.
It worked.
It worked. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And nobody could say we made them point that way on purpose.
Yeah. No. Yeah, that's good thinking. That. So I've been asked if on our next investigation Well, like, so when we do an EVP, I'm going to go in blindfolded with headphones on. I can't remember the term for it. Sorry?
The SD session, like where you're blindfolded, you can't hear the questions.
Yes. So I'm going to do that next time. My only concern with that is, though, apparently you leave yourself open.
Mm-hmm.
Have you any advice for me on how to protect myself on that?
I think a lot of it is setting intentions. I'm not a very religious person, so I know some people pray. Some people, sage. We sage and have like Florida water. But I think whatever you do, it's more about intentions. Like nothing can attach to me, no negative things. If your boundaries are like nothing can touch me, you just say that right up front.
Yeah.
Let them know what's what. And I found that most spirits or whatever are respectful of that.
Yeah. Like I said, I use the crystals. So I've got a few different ones. But obviously mainly the obsidian, which 9 times out of 10 I carry that with me when I go anyway. I've always thought about doing it, but then it's like, do I really want to put myself in that position?
I do it often. I only got freaked out one time, and it was because we were at a private investigation, and I was doing the SD session, and they let me go for like half an hour, and I'm like, okay, are we done yet? But apparently I was getting really relevant stuff. I stopped it because I was sitting in the hallway, and this guy's bedroom, like the bedroom was here, there was a small hallway, and then the bathroom. I'm sitting in the hallway, and I see out from under this guy's bed, it looked like to me a cat, like a shadow cat come out from under the bed, like around the bed leg. And I'm like, nope, all right, I'm done now. I'm seeing things.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, we're done now. But it was actually pretty cool because we found out later that we didn't know at the time that his dog had passed and his dog slept under the bed all the time.
Right. So that's what it was.
Yeah, and we actually got an EVP later in the evening of the dog barking.
Right.
Wow. And he had a photo of the dog on the mirror in his bedroom.
Yeah.
But I was freaked out because I'm like, I'm seeing shadows right now, like so solid that I thought it was a cat, and he did not have a cat.
Yeah, but you'd seen something moving, animal type figure under the bed.
Yep.
Right. Oh, next question. Ouija boards. Have you ever used them? Would you or would you not?
Hasn't everybody used them? No. I mean, everybody was young and dumb at one time.
I nearly used one. Me and my mate made one, but we both was on like 12 or something. We got too scared to use it, so we just threw it away.
I have used them. I would not use one now. I don't recommend that people use them. I definitely don't recommend them as toys for kids.
No.
I feel like it's kind of opening the door for spirits to come through who aren't who they say they are.
Yeah.
If you're not using them with the proper intentions.
Yeah.
Like when we go into an investigation, we're using all these other devices and we're asking people to come through, and we protect ourselves and things like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like a majority of the people who are just messing around with Ouija boards are trying to like scare themselves, and it's just not a good thing to do.
No. So what would you say the difference then is between like using a Ouija board and using a pendulum? Got the name of it then, because you're kind of still opening yourself up, aren't you, to communicate?
I don't think there's a difference really in communicating. Like I don't think Ouija boards are like inherently evil.
No.
But I don't think that you should be doing any form of communicating with spirits unless you know what you're doing.
Right.
Which is why when we do these like classes for kids, we're teaching them protect yourself, like know what you're asking when you're asking a spirit to come in. Don't ever do these things like we did when we were teenagers, like asking something to speak through you, like to take over your body and move things. I think that's the difference is intent and knowing what you're doing. And the people who are using Ouija boards are often using them as like a sleepover game where they just want to like scare the crap out of each other.
Yeah. But it was originally designed as a kids' board game, though, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep. But the same way that when you go into your bathroom and you're like saying Bloody Mary 3 times and asking what you think is an evil spirit to come and scare you. Like, that's generally not a good idea.
I've never been tempted to do that. I thought about it, but I've never actually stood in front of the mirror. I thought, right, I'm going to do it. It's like, no. Like I said, with the mirror, just walk straight past them. So have you, I don't know if it's right to say, have you ever done is it black mirror, scribe mirror?
Mm-hmm.
Black mirror? Have you ever done that?
I haven't done the black mirror, but we have done scrying at our events.
Yeah.
Where you have the small mirrors propped up and you have like a candle in front of it. Yeah. And you look in the mirror and see if you can see anything. We've had a couple people who have done it and reported that their face starts to change and they've seen other faces in the mirror.
Yeah.
I've done it and seen other things in the mirror.
On over you or behind?
Yeah.
Over you.
Over.
Yeah.
Like a different face.
So did that not freak you out or anything?
Not really, because my logical mind thinks like, okay, well, you're sitting there with like a soft gaze looking at things.
Yeah.
Maybe it's your mind playing tricks on you and, your eyes just going out of focus.
Yeah. Yeah, a bit like pareidolia. So when you see something, obviously, your mind puts a face to it or an image that it recognizes.
Yeah, I have a very logical mind like that. So while I'm not discounting that, it doesn't freak me out because I also see what it could be as like a rational explanation for these things.
Logical reasoning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if I was doing that and I saw a person that I described perfectly that I'd never seen before, and then see a photograph of him in the other room that he was like the former owner of the building, I'm like, okay, well, that's a weird coincidence.
Yeah.
But if it's just, oh, my face started to change, that's not enough of a correlation for me to be like, okay, well, that's supernatural.
Yeah, because like you said, using a candlelight as well, so the flickering is going to adjust how you appear in a mirror anyway.
Yeah.
So is there any other practices that you have done that you wouldn't do again?
I don't think so. I think I would try anything.
Yeah.
I really don't discount any methods because I think they all have their merits and they all can be used if you go into them with a skeptical mind.
Yeah.
Like I believe in this as I do this consistently.
Right.
Not for a living because we don't really make money, but I do this as a hobby, I guess.
Yeah.
I do this professionally. But I try to go into everything with a skeptical mind.
Yeah.
So I would try things, any method, and I would try to improve it if I can to make it less biased and more foolproof, I guess.
Yeah. Yes, like more solid evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So have you ever tried manifestation?
I have not.
No. Would you?
I would. Like I said, I would try anything. I am.
Yeah.
I'm always I want to learn as much as I can. I want to try everything because I'm open to all different theories.
Yeah. But within manifestation, would you not be worried that you bring something to you that then becomes an attachment?
I've never really been worried about attachments because I just set the boundaries and set, like, you're not following me home.
Yeah. But
And it's worked so far.
yeah, I was going to say they must.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, I'm trying to not jinx anything.
Mm-hmm.
So please don't. If anything happens, it's not my fault. Do you not think though that there must be some of these entities out there that think, well, if I want to follow you home, I will do. You've not got any control over that.
Yes, I think that's the case. But I also think it's more likely to happen when you're scared or when you're emotionally vulnerable.
Yeah, with the fear factor.
Yeah, and that's why when I go into these things and I think logically and I try not to let my emotions, overcome me, even in potentially heavy situations.
Yeah.
I joke a lot. Like I try to keep things light in my investigations.
Yeah.
So things aren't super intense.
Yeah. No, I do the same, to be honest. I think you have to.
Yeah, we'll get things saying like, oh, demon, big scary demon. I'm like, oh, you're a big scary demon and you're admitting you're a big scary demon? That doesn't seem likely.
Yeah.
Where some people will be like, oh my God, it's a scary demon. I need holy water. I need, some people will freak out and some people will kind of laugh it off and be like, if it's a demon, you're not going to tell me you're a demon.
Yeah. So have you ever been anywhere that I know you say you don't scare easy, but is there anywhere you've been that you wouldn't go back because it was too much?
Well, actually, that story that I just said, the big scary demon, happened. There was
I
a
thought it was
private
like
investigation.
hypothetical, man.
No, that was a private investigation. And it's not that I wouldn't go back, but that was a very heavy situation. It was the spirit of a not nice person. He was not nice in life. He was not nice in death. And he was masquerading as a demon to scare the homeowner.
Right.
We went in and we're smelling sulfur. Things are coming up on our equipment saying demon. This person in question, he had killed people. Like, he was just not a nice person.
Right.
And his intention was to scare people. So I think it made the homeowner feel better to know that it was not something demonic in the house. It was just this man who was not nice.
Yeah.
And his intention was to scare him.
Yeah. So, a lot of people say that these entities and that they feed off fear.
Mm-hmm.
But just with what you've just been saying, if you're getting these good entities, then obviously they're not feeding off fear. So to me, that doesn't make sense. Do you know what I mean?
I think the negative things are going to be negative, like any bully. A bully is gonna keep bullying you if they're getting a reaction.
Yeah.
But if it's a nice entity, and you're interacting with them nicely, they'll want to continue interacting with you.
Yeah.
So I think it can go either way.
Yeah, so it's just with people saying like they feed off your fear. But then if they're not all bad, what are the good ones feeding off? Is that off the light or the love?
Yeah, I don't think they necessarily need to feed off fear, but I think the negative entities, if you want to refer to them as that, are going to continue to harass people who are scared, who are, not in a good place, the same way that living bullies pick on people who they see as weaker.
Yeah. No, thank you for that. No, I just dawned on me then when you were saying that. I was just thinking about it because there are quite a lot of people that say they all feed off fear, but then if there's no fear to feed off, then what are they feeding off? It must be something different. And now that's completely changed what I think about the paranormal. It'll change again next week.
Yeah, I don't know if I see it as like feeding off of fear. I mean, I guess that's how they say it, but I think it's I equate it to, the same way living people, deal with people.
Like get kicks out of doing it, sort of thing.
Like they may not need that to manifest, but if a bully's picking on somebody and they're not getting a reaction, they're going to leave you alone because they're not getting the reaction that they want.
Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah, you explained it a lot better than I did. Cheers. Have you got any projects coming up?
We have quite a few events coming up, actually. We have August 12th, we have our 2 events, our kid-friendly ghost event at the Bombville Grange and the Grange nighttime event with Roslyn and Michelle Lewis that we talked a bit about.
Yeah.
We are doing September 1st, a paranormal investigation at Crystal Courts in New Jersey. We have Brews and Barbecue at New Street Tavern, September 24th. So that's going to be fun. That's kind of like a goodbye summer, welcome in spooky season barbecue. We have an investigation at the historic Goshen Music Hall, and our guest speaker for that is actually Alexandra Holzer, the daughter of Hans Holzer. We've investigated with her in the past. She's an awesome speaker and an awesome investigator.
Cool.
And then we have a haunted sleepover at the Borland House Inn in Montgomery, New York on December 9th.
Right. So do you do many stayovers?
We don't, actually. This will be our first public sleepover event. So we have a whole place for the whole night. We have just investigation only tickets. So people, if they don't want to stay the whole night, and actually the rooms are already sold out, but we still have tickets for the investigation.
Cool, excellent. So all your links are in the description. You've done it. Is it Linktree, isn't it? So you've done them all on Linktree. You click on that, and that'll take you to all the events that you've got going on.
Yep, that takes you to all our social media, and all of our events are on our Facebook page, and on our website. Some of our events are more recent events are linked right on the Linktree. Right.
Okay. Excellent. Right. Is there anything else you want to add before we finish today?
No, just again, thank you for having me. This was fun. This is a great discussion. I love being able to talk paranormal.
I know. I enjoy it, but then sometimes I like kind of want to not have a break from it, but do something different. Do you know what I mean? Rather than just doing it 24/7. Because this is what I started doing, was just going out investigating, and then that's I'll do the Facebook group and then the YouTube channel, and then it just ended up being what it is now. So I don't go out investigating half as much as I want to, but going forward now, we're getting a couple of new team members. They're going to be not so much taking over, but they're going to be going out more than I am. So I'm going to be sat here and doing the cameras and all that kind of stuff. So I'll keep in the nice warmth while they're out in the cold, getting attacked by ghosts on the ground. So to speak. But I'm going to do some of them, but not all of them. So I just want to build the team up a little bit first, and then we're going to start heading out further afield and going to different places. Because have you heard of Cannock Chase in the UK?
I'm sorry?
Cannock Chase?
No, I haven't.
So these there's like dogman sightings, wild men, black-eyed kids, UFOs, orbs, all sorts of stuff going on there. So we're actually doing a stayover there in September. So we're going meeting up during the day, and same sort of thing. People can come just for the afternoon, but there's a few of us that are going to be doing through the night investigations through till Sunday morning. So that's going to be the first.
Change my answer. That's where I want to go in the UK.
Oh, is it? Right. Yeah. It is a good place. I remember the first time I went, and the people that I was with, I didn't tell them the real reason why I was going. I'd seen videos and read about the black-eyed kids, and that was my only reason why I wanted to go. And I said, well, just go. It's a nice place. We'll just go for the day. Nothing happened anyway, so I don't feel so bad now.
That might be the thing that freaks the black-eyed kids.
Yeah.
At my door.
I've not bumped into one yet, and I don't want to. I'm just happy to read about other people doing it without being horrible.
Yep. No, I've heard stories, but
yeah. I'll leave it
nothing
there.
Yet.
No, massive thank you for coming on.
Thanks
Absolutely loved it. Really appreciate it. Welcome back to come on anytime. So if you, I'm gonna say, after when you've done your investigations and that, when you've done this stayover, if you want to come back on and give us any information, if anything happened there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll bring the girls on.
Yeah, we'll do that then. Do a panel if you want.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, they're a ton of fun. We have good time.
Right. Yeah, because I want to get the new team members that are going to be going out investigating. I want them to come on so that everyone can meet them while they're not out investigating. So like this.
Yeah.
So if we could do something like that if you wanted.
Yeah, that would be great.
Excellent. Right. Well, a massive thank you for everyone coming on. Everyone in the chat, sorry. Everyone who listens on podcast, thank you for subscribing and following. Thank you, Nicole, for coming on and talking about everything that you do, and with your lights going off in the background, the cat balls and the mist and orbs and everything. I'm going to watch it back. I've sent you the link to this anyway, haven't I? So if you want to have a look, see if you pick anything up as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and watch it now.
Yeah. So, that's it. Oh, Friday, I've got Nigel Wright coming on. And then the following Friday, I've got Kaz Clark and Gary Jones from the Penchurch UFO incident in Wales. So that's it. Right. So see you all on Friday. Thank you again, Nicole, for coming on. And take care and good night. Bye-bye.